Welcome back to Sunday Supplement. Let's focus on the title race. Manchester City go to Bournemouth on Tuesday, of course. But before then, Arsenal are at home to Burnley on the Monday Night Football. The back page of the Sunday Mirror features an interview with Martin Zubamendi. Paint the town red, he says. Let's win and party like it's 2004. Jason, potentially decisive 2 days in this title race. It looks like it might go to the wire. As far as Arsenal are concerned, does it feel like a test of nerve over verve now?
Oh, obviously, yeah, absolutely. They've got these two games against Burnley at home and Palace away. They'll be watching, obviously, to see if Man City beat Bournemouth. I think it will go down to the last day. I suspect, though, that Arsenal will win very convincingly against Burnley. I think they'll probably get enough in terms of goal difference to even give them a bit of a cushion. Now, I think that West Ham game was the one. It was the one. You know, everyone did say that beforehand, and it proved to be the case. You know, get over the line with that West Ham game. And I was quite surprised how nervous they were in that game and how they were a bit unconvincing. I thought they'd got themselves back on track earlier than that, but it was a vital win. That I think that's done it. I think they will get over the line now. And obviously tomorrow night against Burnley, I think I could see them winning very, very convincingly. As I say, get a goal difference up to such an extent that it kind of makes it. You know, they don't even have to win on the last day. They could probably draw.
Jackie, have you seen a change in the atmosphere around the Emirates, particularly after that Fulham game and before that Atletico Madrid game, which we understand the fans are going to welcome the team bus again, which we hadn't really seen at the Emirates ever before, and it was absolutely incredible, the scenes before the Atletico Madrid game. It's almost like they're just dragging their team over the line now, aren't they?
Yeah, and the players need them to as well. I mean, they have been criticised before for not being necessarily as vocal as they could be in the past, Arsenal supporters. But I think it's so close now. It's so close, isn't it? And I don't want to be cynical. I promise you I don't. But all the way through the season, I've always felt that it's never going to be as straightforward as people think. Even when Arsenal had a convincing lead and were looking fantastic on the pitch, I've always just, maybe it's just because we've been around the block so many times over a few decades of whenever you think something is in the offing, someone throws a curveball in there. And literally everybody I hear saying, oh, this is going to be straightforward against Burnley. Is it? There's so much at stake. And also, there's crazy things that can happen in any football game. Red cards can happen. Somebody could stick a boot into the thigh of somebody just through a split-second mistimed challenge, and they're off, and that's it, and out for the next game too, and out for, could happen in the second minute of a game, or a key player could go down injured. I'm not here, I promise you, Arsenal fans, to make you nervous. All I'm saying is that when we look on paper at what we think will probably happen in the last couple of games in the Premier League, it rarely pans out that way. So I think it's far from done and dusted. I think huge credit to Arsenal for doing what they've done so far, for reaching the Champions League final, for being this positive, the supporters for being so positive. They probably will get over the line, but I absolutely do not think it's done and dusted. There's a long way to go.
Mark, Jackie says full credit to Arsenal. It's not a narrative that's been shared by a lot of people. In The Observer, Rory Smith talks about Arsenal don't charm everyone, but other coaches are in awe. I'll just read you a bit of this piece. The approach in which they have sought to end that agonising wait for a title, it's fair to say, has not won universal approval from those observers who might, with varying degrees of accuracy, regard themselves as neutrals. Among Arteta's peers, though, the response has been very different. And he quotes he refers to Daniel Farke and how impressed he was. He says he assessed Arsenal from the perspective of a coach and a manager, analysing them almost as a feat of engineering. And what he saw clearly, he regarded as a masterpiece. Have Arsenal got the credit, and has Arteta got the credit that maybe they've deserved?
No, not really. And I think we're all guilty of not giving them the credit. I mean, I think they're a hard watch, but I think we've got to take away the last 10 years. We've all, really praised the Man City teams of Guardiola and the Liverpool teams of Klopp. The last 10 years have been like fantasy football in terms of the way that the Premier League's been played. But you go back beyond that, Antonio Conte's Chelsea, Mourinho's Chelsea. You don't have to always have flair to win the title, and Arsenal haven't really got a lot of flair. But
though, doesn't it?
It does help, and there are times when you watch them thinking this is heavy going. But it's all about winning more points than your rival to win the league, and they're going to do that, I think. So yes, they deserve credit. I mean, again, the Arsene Wenger team was a great team to watch, but prior to that, Arsenal's kind of, DNA was George Graham Arsenal. 1-0 to the Arsenal, defend resolutely and score goals when you can. So let's not get too carried away. If they win the league, they deserve to win it. But I do think that the last day could be really eventful. Like when Jeremy Doku scored that equaliser at Everton, I just thought that goal could have a real significance because it just meant that Arsenal had to get 4 points from this point on. So I think they'll beat Burnley tomorrow. I disagree with Jackie, but I think they'll hammer Burnley, to be honest. I think it's a game that home advantage Emirates, they could score 5 or 6. But if they go behind against Palace at Selhurst Park on the final day, the Arsenal fans get really, really jittery, especially if City is scoring goals against Villa. So I think it could go down at the final day, and it could like be Celtic Hearts. It could be a very, very late decisive goal, but I do think it's going to go at the final day.
Just going back to that piece from Rory, he says about use the word awe. When I talk to managers, it's not awe, it's admiration. They think they're a fantastically well-coached team. There's always, when I talked to him, I don't know who it was, but a manager said to me, absolutely brilliantly coached team, fantastic, but, and there was a but, it's like, as Mark said, a hard watch.
If that was Sam Allardyce's team or Tony Pulis's, they'd be getting criticised. But because it's Mikel Arteta, it's different.
Do you not think there's an element of the fact they haven't won it for 22 years?
Yes.
Do you not have to cut them some slack? They've just got to do what they've got to do because mentally
And
it's a much bigger challenge than Manchester City winning the title.
I think that's definitely what's happened, sorry, because he has tried to play more free-flowing football and it just didn't quite work. I think this season, as you say, Jackie, is all about just get over the line. Just find a way to get over the line and then hopefully then you can build on that. Because I think if they do win it this year, we could see a period of dominance from Arsenal. I genuinely think that.
It's almost like the Champions League final is going to be a battle for football soul, isn't it? It's going to be Arsenal against PSG. The PSG are a dream team to watch. They're fantastic in every department. They pass it around. They move brilliantly. They can score goals from all elements. You know, Skelly is a brilliant player, and they've got Arsenal.
And one of the reasons fans are critical, neutral fans are quite critical of Arteta as well, is his antics on the touchline. So for neutrals, I was watching an Arsenal game with someone the other day who was just shouting at the telly. He was just so annoyed by his antics that actually winds people up.
Time wasting, running the clock down, goalkeepers going down for treatment. All these things that Arsenal do, other teams do as well. Man City have been terrible for 10 years on the tactical fouls. But
just picking up on that, have you, in all the time that you've been covering football, and particularly in the Premier League, experienced as much noise and narrative around a club as you have at Arsenal this season?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we've ever gone to a title race whereby everyone's criticising the style of play because, like I said, the last 10 years it's been dream football, and prior to that we didn't have that kind of comparison. You know, if Chelsea were in it under Conte, it wasn't like, well, it's not as good as Guardiola's City. You know, even Leicester in 2016, it wasn't great to watch, but it was exhilarating because of what they were doing. But equally, it was built on a kind of a solid defence and counter-attacking football. So, yeah, Arsenal have been dominated by the narrative, but if they win the league, they won't care one little bit.
I think there's been 3 factors, hasn't there, really? I mean, I think, you know, somebody asked me this the other day, actually, who worked for Arsenal. I think the manager himself sometimes has alienated people and it's been quite difficult to, you know, sort of warm to, let's be honest. I think the style of football has been an issue. This is going to get me in trouble. I think the fans sometimes can be a little bit insufferable as well. You know, I mean, even people saying if they win it this year, it's going to be the greatest Premier League triumph ever and all this sort of stuff. And well,
you're saying that?
Because I haven't won it for 20 years or whatever, and you know, I think Ian Wright said it would be the greatest if they win the... And there is an argument for that, if they win the Premier League and the Champions League. There's an argument for that. It's just
those Leicester, though.
But it's just... No, in terms of winning the Premier League and the Champions League in one season, having not won them for... There is an... Absolutely, I'm not saying it's a wrong argument. It's just the kind of statements like that do rile people at times. I think those 3 factors have been at play for them, but they're not factors they can't get round. They're not factors... They don't care if they win. If they win, they win. Then they deserve to win.
Would every fan base not be insufferable?
Yeah, look, if Arsenal fans aren't happy that they're not getting enough credit for winning the league, well, I wouldn't worry about it. If you win the league, it doesn't matter what people think. You've won the league. So, you know, get on with it.
Just finally, Jason, on Arsenal, just picking up on what you said there about potentially being ominous for the rest if they were to get over the line this season, because there is a transitional feel about their challenges as well, isn't there? Could be a perfect storm for Arsenal in the next few years.
And I also feel, I definitely feel that they've built so well in the last few years under Arteta that the growth of the club, and this is why they should be admired, is, you know, yes, they've spent money, but they've spent within their means, and they've done it in a very sort of organic way, season by season. They've built upon it, second. And now if they win it, and the profile of the squad, the age of the squad, and we know the improvements that need to be made in that squad, they're obviously up front, and they'll do that hopefully in the summer. But so I feel, once you get over the line with this team, I think we could see a period of dominance. I think they could win 2 or 3 titles in the next 5 years. I definitely think that, with Arteta, and it could be quite an ominous sign for the rest of the Premier League.
They have the stability that their rivals just don't have. All the top clubs are without managers or changing.
I just don't see Arsenal's style of play being sustainable to dominate.
I think they'll evolve the style of play. I think once they get over the line this season, I think they'll become a more attacking team.
I think City will be better, Chelsea will be better under Alonso. I think Liverpool will be better. So I just think this is Arsenal's window. If they don't win it this year, they'll win it at some point. But I don't think there'll be a period of dominance.
Well, you think if they win it this year, that's kind of it. They'll fall back into the pack again.
I do. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Ebbs, thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to start by showing you a little clip I found from the archives of QPR. Now, I thought this was pretty cool, to be honest with you. Let's watch it.
Do you have a favourite Premier League team?
Arsenal.
Why?
Look at my shroom.
I just supported them from young. The way they played, I played with them when I was younger as well. That's how I used to play for. So it's my favourite team.
Who will win the Premier League this season?
Arsenal.
Yeah?
I believe somehow.
I believe somehow. I believe somehow. But we're now, I
crazy.
think that was 2018, so we're 8 years on, and you're on the precipice of greatness. What would teenage Ebbs be saying about this right now?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy vid, by the way. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he'll be very happy to think that he achieved one of his dreams playing for Arsenal, and that, of course, to be able to achieve winning the Premier League will be even more special.
How are you feeling about it? Behind the scenes, how do you deal with this sort of stuff?
Yeah, good. It's fun. As I said before, it's like a beautiful opportunity to be where we are, to have the chance to be playing for something. So, yeah, just grateful to God that I've been on this journey and been able to get to this point, and to make it happen will be everything.
I know a lot of people say like the family is actually the people that are a little bit more nervous than they are, because you can how are your family coping with
Yeah,
this?
they're stressed a lot, a lot of the time. But of course, as the ones that are involved, it's a bit easier because you have a bit more control over what's going on. But yeah, it's fun, man. Just hearing everything that's going on around it is exciting.
Talking of nerves, when that West Ham goal went in to start with, and you're on the bench, when you were looking, shaking.
Wait, when the West Ham goal
When it
went
first went in over the line.
yeah, that was a bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, I've heard that it was a foul quite early, so it was fairly calm, just hoping that the decision would be made. But yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was speaking to some of my Crystal Palace friends, their season ticket holders, and they were talking about March to May, Eberechi Eze being the guy. What is it about this portion of the season that you're so good at?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm always trying to play my best football throughout the year. I don't know what I'm doing throughout the rest of the year. But yeah, in these months, I don't know what happens. I think as the season goes on, there's a lot more at stake, and it's a bit more clear what's happening. Games become a bit more important, and I love occasions, so I guess that could be part of it.
Do you think you thrive under the pressure?
Yeah, I guess so. I enjoy big games, big moments, when the stakes are high. That's why you play football, that's what you want to be part of. So yeah, I try to enjoy those moments as much as possible.
And what's it like being part of this squad at the moment? Is it really fun? Is it pressurised? Is it nervous? What's it like behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's very fun, very fun. It's a cool team to be a part of.
Yeah.
The group are so good. There's so much joy in the dressing room. And you can see how excited everyone is to be working towards achieving something so great. So yeah, it's a good time to be at Arsenal for sure.
Who are you close with here? Who do you sort of spend your time with on the training ground, maybe off the training ground?
Closest with B, Noni, Derek, of course the England boys.
Yeah.
Naturally, the Brazilians as well. I've sort of joined their clique, which is
Have you?
hilarious. Yeah.
Can you speak a bit of Portuguese?
I cannot.
You try.
I don't understand what they're saying all the time. They're probably cussing me. No, joking. But yeah, I'm cool for everyone, man. I think the group is so tight that like it doesn't matter who you're with, you've got that same type of vibe. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
And Mikel's done such a good job sort of cultivating that vibe, hasn't he? What's he changed in your game so far since you've been here?
He's taught me to consider a lot more than what I was considering before.
Really?
Joining, yeah. Like football is so much more complex.
Okay.
It's simple, but it's complex, and once you understand it, it allows you to operate and be so much more efficient with whatever it is you decide to do. So he's got me understanding football a lot deeper, which is, for me, the best thing.
Do you genuinely think Arsenal's going to drop points?
Not to Burnley.
Okay, then it'll be in the last match day to Crystal Palace.
I just want to paint this scenario.
I do think they're more likely to draw points to Crystal Palace and to Burnley. That's for certain.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to paint this scenario because not a ball's been kicked yet. Football does crazy things on the mind, and especially for fans, and especially for Arsenal fans. I want to paint this scenario. You had said something that I thought was going to happen when City went to Everton, and you had painted this picture of, okay, if you're Manchester City and you get this resounding win at Everton, which didn't happen, it sends a message. Every Arsenal fan is hoping and expecting Manchester City to slip up at Bournemouth. And it's valid.
We're hoping, but I don't think we're expecting it. I think Arsenal fans are expecting that City will win out. And I think Arsenal fans are expecting that Arsenal will win out. That's why
Arsenal fans right now are not concerned about Manchester City.
You think
it's about us? It's about Arsenal.
Arsenal controls their own destiny. Arsenal wins their 2 games and it's done.
I just think, should this get to the final match day, City goes up a couple goals. It's 0-0 at Selhurst Park. Remember, Oliver Glasner's final match as a Crystal Palace manager, he could go out a European champion. We expect him to go out a European champion, but it's still a sense of pride as a manager. In your final match as a manager, you want to win that.
But what if he rotates? But, okay, regardless, we don't know what's going to happen on that match day. That is a real dynamic that's going to be in play that can put pressure on Arsenal, and we see how Arsenal deals with that. So City goes up. Arsenal then needs to put a little bit of pressure. Like, sure. But I don't know. I feel like it's so close. Like, Arsenal can taste it more than they've ever tasted it. And both teams are better than both of their oppositions.
You know what I think is funny, though? That if Arsenal is to win it, I think Arsenal fans will still just want to completely forget this season because of how stressful it is.
Yeah, I would. This has been. Arsenal have broken records. They are top of the league. They are in the Champions League final. But this has been one of the most stressful seasons I can ever remember.
There's been big criticism of Arsenal in the last couple of seasons, especially when they've been finishing second. Their mentality. They haven't quite been able to get it over the line. Games like this in seasons before may have, and we've seen them being tripped up by West Ham in seasons before. Does this show that they are much closer to the mentality of champions?
Well, only know until the end, till they lift that trophy. And it's true, though. I mean, the only reason why people question them, we question them, is because they haven't lifted it yet. And once you do, you go, oh, but last season they lifted it. You know, we're only questioning it because it's not been in their hands yet. And I think all the nerves in that conversation will die once they have it. They've added significantly to their squad. They've learnt over the last couple of years, sometimes you have to go through experiences. You've got to understand that this is a big moment. This is a significant moment. I think they've done that. And again, they're on the verge of winning a double, you know, Champions League final as well. So, but I think they've got an unbelievable squad. And that is a lot of credit to Arteta, to putting that squad together, that there's 2 players of high calibre in every position, that when someone comes in, the other one just takes the team up to another level. And I think that's something that you have to applaud them for doing that.